Hey, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to a video that's a little bit different. I'm going to show you how I make a title in Silhouette Studio. And I've had a couple people ask me about this since I've been using it a little bit more frequently lately. And so I thought I'd go ahead and share my screen on how I do this. So the title I'm making is National Ice Cream Day. And I am clicking on the little A that's on the left-hand side of the screen. That is the text block. And I am making each word its own text block. And that's so I can move them around independently. I can make the fonts different. They have a lot more functionality when they are separate words than if they were all one word. So I do have them, I have national and day highlighted at the same time. And you can do that by holding your shift key, clicking on national and clicking on day. And as you can see, I'm scrolling through my fonts over there and it is only picking up national. I'm going to have to do day separately, and that's okay. I was hoping it would do both at the same time. Sometimes it seems to, depending on how you select them and how and then whether or not they are, you use like the select button or whatever, or select all button. So anyway, so I am using this font. It's called Watermelon Family, and then I am going to make ice cream using a font that is called Standly, and that's Standly. I got those fonts for free off of dafont.com, and that's where I get most of my fonts that are creative. I do have a couple of purchased ones, but these ones are just freebies. And so I am playing with those and making them big. I just sized them really large. I actually, what you saw there, I flipped to another page because I already tried it out to make sure that these were good fonts to use together. Sometimes it takes a little bit of playing around with the fonts and figuring out which ones nestle nicely and how I want it laid out. And actually, I hadn't thought about actually doing a screen capture of this process before I made the other one. So I'm doing it a second time so that you can see how I make it. So I know I want this to be a huge page title because I only have one photo that I want to use on this page. And if you're looking for the video using the photo, that is going to be a separate video tomorrow. So you can come back tomorrow and check that out. So I'm just kind of playing around with it because the word ice has the ascender, which is where the first letter or any of the letters in the lineup go above the middle of the so when you do your handwriting, you have the top line, the bottom line, and then the center line. So anything that goes above the center line is an ascender. Anything that drops below the bottom line is called a descender. So because the I in ice is capitalized, it has an ascender, and it's not going to nestle well under national. It's going to leave a gap between the C and the E and then the letters in national above. So I just pull it out towards the front of national so the I has room to live in front of that N. Now the word cream, I don't mind that it actually has ascenders. It actually gives me a nice gap between the word national and the word cream. And if I extend that up, expand that out enough, it is going to give me a nice spot for my photo. So I'm just kind of playing with those first off. Day is going to be added later, so I'm not too worried about that. It's all, it doesn't have any ascenders or descenders, and neither does national. And so when you're choosing your fonts, you have to choose things that you think will nestle well together or things that will attach well together, because currently several of the letters in national and day are not going to weld together and be a part of one title. And in fact, any of the words from the T on in national are not going to be welded together as part of one title, except that I'm going to make a shadow behind the entire thing so it will have a place to live. So you can see as I stretch it out there that I am leaving enough space for a 4x6 horizontal or landscape, whichever you prefer to call it. And I'm in fact going to go over to the rectangle on the left hand side there, and I'm going to pull that in, and I'm going to draw a rectangle that is 4x6, and you can see the little measurement markers there. It tells you when it's 4x6, and that's how I know how big my photo is going to be. Now my photos are slightly smaller because I print them on my selfie, but I do mat them, so it's not going to be a problem. And I don't mind if there is a little bit of overlap um, on the top and the bottom of the photo. So I'm just playing with that, making sure it works. I'm going to delete that rectangle off when I know that it's going to be okay and that I've got the right size, because I don't want to leave that rectangle on there because it would actually cut that rectangle, and I don't need the rectangle cut. It would cut off the top of the letters if they were overlapped at all. So what I am doing here is I've taken the word cream, I've selected that, and I've right-clicked on my mouse, and I'm going to the weld button, and I'm welding the word. And I'm doing the same thing with the word ice, so that the cursive letters all connect together. And then I'm going to take the word day, and I'm going to finagle it up just a little bit so that the top of day meets the bottom of cream, and you can still make out what all of the letters are, but they do have a little bit of overlap, so that when I cut it, it will cut all as one piece. I will go ahead and weld all of those together once I get them sized right and I get them in the right spot. I'm doing the same thing with the word national up at the top. I am making sure that the N and the A are touching the C and the E so that when they weld together, it's all one piece. I am kind of just resizing things a little bit here because I don't want it quite so wide on my page. My mat on my screen here is a 12 by 12, and so this title is going to be large. I just want to shrink it down a little to give a little bit of border around the entire title. I don't want the title to be flush to the edges of the page. I want it to kind of have a nice way to center it and not look like it's too large for the page, but I still am looking to make sure that I maintain enough room for my title, or I mean my photo. So once I had all of those words welded together, so I've welded national and ice cream and day all together by selecting them all, hitting the right key or right button on my mouse and welding. And then I went to the offset panel up in the upper right hand side. It's a star. It looks like a star. It's kind of in midway down. And you click the offset panel and it will allow you can see there how many, the size of the offset. And I have altered it. It normally comes in at like 0.125 or something like that. And I've taken this down to, I think it's like 0.60 because I don't like a huge shadow behind it. I just want it shadowed enough so that the letters attach. And what I'm looking at here is I took that shadowing as it was still highlighted, and I changed the line color of it to be black or purple. I can't tell. I think it's purple. So that I can see that it is completely outlined, and I can see where the letters actually attach and don't attach. And the A and the L were not attaching together because they are too far apart. And so I kind of had to go back and undo a few things. I got rid of the offset, and I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to make it so it's not quite so narrow. I'm going to make it a little wider. And I'm going to see how that looks. And so now I am changing the color of the offset to black. And then I am taking it down just a little bit at a time. I'm looking to see that all of the lines kind of have an overlap somewhere. So each letter overlaps the next letter with the black color of lines. The red doesn't matter because the red is already done. Just making sure that the black is overlapping each other. And once that is done, you can hit apply and it will give you the entire outline. So I'm not sure what I'm looking at right now. My apologies for that. So the biggest tips are to look at your fonts and see what you think would nestle well together, which fonts give you the right feel for your page. I wanted something a little bit fun for this page, not too, I wanted it bold, but I didn't want it like a really professional looking bold. I wanted a little bit more fun, and I think this watermelon family font is a really nice one for that. And so now you can see here the L and the A are attached together. When they're not attached, that black line would be connected in between the two. It would connect top to bottom, and then you would have problems when you cut it. The L would be completely separate. So now I'm going into my send panel where you send it to your machine, and I am looking at just the line. I go to the line tab and I'm just selecting the line that I want to see so I can look at what it's going to cut like. So there is the outline, and you can see everything is attached. The I is attached to the N, the A is attached to the L, and then I go to the red. Now the red, I know that the T, anything from the T on in national is not going to be attached together because my letters were not squished together close enough, and that's okay. I don't mind that because they do have that matting below them that they are going to rest on. So that is pretty much how that is done. If you have questions or comments, you can leave those down below. I am going to do another video on how to do this, but I will use a little bit of graphics involved as well. Hopefully that was enough description. This is the first time I've done a video on how to use the Silhouette software, so if I called something by its wrong name, I apologize, and bear with me because I am just learning the best way to actually narrate this, because I'm not narrating it as I am doing it. I have not figured that out yet. I just know how to do a screen capture as I do it. I don't know how to actually talk through it as I am doing it. And so bear with me, but if you do have questions, you can leave those down below. There are, I'm sure, plenty of other videos on how to do this on YouTube, so you might check those out as well. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.